I am learning English.
Hi. My name is Anna. It's nice to meet you. I'm here to practice my English and have a nice conversation. What's your name, and what brings you here today?
Hi, Anna. I'm Mark. It's great to meet you too. I'm also here to practice English and talk about different things. I think conversations like this really help. How long have you been learning English?
I've been learning English for about 2 years now. I'm still not very confident, but I try to practice every day. It's a bit difficult for me to understand native speakers sometimes, but I'm getting better. How about you? How long have you been studying English?
I've been learning for a little longer, maybe 3 years. I feel the same way. It's hard to understand when people speak fast, but I've noticed that the more I practice, the more comfortable I feel. I try to read books, watch movies, and have conversations like this to improve. What do you do to practice your English?
I like watching English movies with subtitles, and I also listen to English songs. Sometimes, I try to speak English with my friends, but most of them don't speak English very well. I also read English books, but I usually choose simple ones. What about you? How do you practice?
I also watch a lot of movies and TV shows in English, especially with subtitles. I think it really helps with listening skills. I also use some apps to chat with people in English, and I try to write in English when I can. Reading is something I enjoy too, but like you, I keep it simple. Do you have a favorite English movie or book?
I think my favorite English movie is The Lion King. It's a classic, and I love the story. I've watched it many times in both my language and in English. As for books, I really enjoyed Charlotte's Web, because it's easy to understand and the story is nice. What about you? Do you have a favorite movie or book?
The Lion King is a great movie. I love it too. My favorite movie in English might be Forrest Gump. It's funny but also a bit emotional, and the language is not too hard to follow. For books, I like The Little Prince. It's a beautiful story, and even though it's simple, it has a lot of deep meaning. Do you like stories with deeper messages?
Yes, I think stories with deeper messages are interesting because they make you think about life and other things. The Little Prince is a lovely story. I think it's special because it talks about love, friendship, and life in a simple way. Do you think English stories are easier to understand when they have simple language?
Definitely. When the language is simple, it's easier to understand the message of the story. I think that's why I enjoy reading children's books or watching family movies. They're made for everyone to enjoy, and the English is often clear and not too fast. But I also try to challenge myself sometimes by reading more difficult books or watching more complex movies. Do you do that too? Or do you prefer to stay with simpler materials for now?
I think I still prefer simpler things for now, but I also like to try harder things sometimes. It helps me learn new words and expressions. Sometimes I watch a movie or read a book in English, and then I check the words I don't know. It takes time, but it's worth it. How do you learn new vocabulary? Do you use a dictionary or an app?
I usually use a dictionary app on my phone. It's quick and easy to look up words while I'm reading or watching something. I also make a list of new words and try to use them in sentences. I think using new words in real conversations helps me remember them better. Do you do something similar? Or do you have a different way to learn new words?
I do something similar. I keep a notebook where I write down new words and their meanings. I also try to make sentences with them, but sometimes I forget to use them in real conversations. I think I need to practice speaking more often. Do you think speaking is the hardest part of learning English?
Yes, I think speaking is the hardest part for me. It's easy to read or write, but when I have to speak, I sometimes forget words or feel nervous. But the more I practice, the more confident I become. I try to remind myself that it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when learning a new language. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, I feel the same way. I get nervous when I speak English, especially with native speakers. I worry about making mistakes or not being understood. But I know that practice makes perfect, and making mistakes is part of learning. That's why I try to practice as much as I can. Do you have any tips for becoming more confident when speaking?
One thing that helps me is to take it slow and not rush. When I'm speaking, I try to focus on speaking clearly, even if I'm not speaking fast. Also, practicing with friends or in a comfortable environment makes it easier. I remind myself that everyone understands that I'm learning, so it's okay if I make mistakes. How do you stay motivated to keep learning?
I stay motivated by thinking about how much I've already learned and how much better I can become. Also, I want to travel one day, and speaking English will help me communicate with people from different countries. I think it's exciting to be able to talk to people in another language. Do you want to travel too? Where would you like to go?
Yes, I'd love to travel. There are so many places I want to visit. I think I'd like to go to Japan or Australia. Japan has an interesting culture, and Australia has beautiful beaches and wildlife. I think speaking English will help a lot when traveling. How about you? Do you have any dream destinations?
I've always wanted to visit the United States. I'd love to see New York and maybe go to California too. I think the big cities in the US are very exciting, and there's so much to do and see. I also want to visit Italy because I love Italian food. Have you ever traveled to another country?
Yes, I've been to France and Spain. They are both beautiful countries, and I had a great time there. I tried to use English while I was there, but it was a little difficult because not everyone speaks English. Still, it was a great experience. I hope to travel more in the future. Do you enjoy learning about different cultures?
Yes, I find different cultures very interesting. I like learning about their traditions, food, and way of life. I think it's amazing how people live in different parts of the world. I also like trying food from different countries. What's your favorite food from another country?
I think my favorite food from another country is sushi. I love Japanese food because it's so fresh and healthy. I also enjoy Italian food like pizza and pasta. There are so many delicious foods from different countries. Do you like trying new foods, or do you prefer to stick with what you know?
I love trying new foods. I think it's a fun way to learn about different cultures. I've tried Japanese, Mexican, and Indian food, and they're all very different but delicious. I like spicy food, so I really enjoyed Indian food. Do you like spicy food, or do you prefer milder flavors?
I can handle a little bit of spice, but I don't like food that's too spicy. I prefer milder flavors, but I still enjoy trying different things. I think it's great to explore new tastes. Do you cook at home, or do you usually eat out?
I like cooking at home. I try to make healthy meals, but sometimes I enjoy going out to restaurants and trying new dishes. Cooking is fun, and I like learning new recipes. Do you cook, or do you prefer eating out?
I cook sometimes, but I'm not very good at it yet. I usually make simple meals like pasta or sandwiches. I want to learn how to cook more dishes, though. I think cooking is a useful skill. What's your favorite dish to cook?
I like making pasta dishes because they're easy and tasty. I also enjoy making salads with lots of fresh vegetables. It's quick and healthy. Do you have a favorite dish that you'd like to learn how to cook?
I'd love to learn how to make sushi or homemade pizza. I think it would be fun to make those dishes from scratch. Maybe one day I'll take a cooking class. Do you think it's important to learn how to cook, or do you prefer eating out?
I think it's important to know how to cook, even if it's just simple meals. It's healthier, and you can save money by cooking at home. But I also enjoy eating out sometimes because it's a nice way to relax and try new foods. What's your favorite type of restaurant to go to?
I like going to Italian restaurants because I love pizza and pasta. I also enjoy going to Japanese restaurants for sushi. It's always nice to try something new. What about you? What kind of restaurants do you like?
I enjoy Italian and Japanese food too, but I also like going to Mexican restaurants. The flavors are so bold and tasty. I like trying different cuisines. It's a fun way to explore different cultures through food.